to Ridecast, the podcast of the Widow Sons Ridings chapter. The opinions expressed in this episode do not represent those of the Widow Sons Masonic Biker Association UK and Ireland. You can find us on Facebook at Widow Sons-Ridings chapter, on Instagram at Widow Sons_Ridings chapter. Our website is ridings.wsmba.uk. You can look us up on YouTube by searching for the Ridecast channel. And if you want to contact us directly, email us on ridecast@hotmail.com. Right, that's the housekeeping taken care of. Kickstands up, on with the show. Hello, and welcome to Ridecast, and we're into episode 2. It's June, and we're into episode 2. That's not good enough, guys. But anyway, sorry about that. Sorry we've been away for so long. This is your host, Yaka. Let me introduce you to my co-hosts. We have Gremlin. Hello, Gremlin.
Good afternoon, everybody.
And also we have Pigpen with us, as usual. Hello, Pigpen.
Hello all. How are we?
Yeah, pretty good. So how come it's taken so long to get you two guys to come to the studio and record an episode?
Because Pigpen's always on holiday.
You wouldn't believe the messages I've had from fans that are missing the show so much, asking us when we're doing the next episode. But we'll come back to that in email corner. We're back. We're here. Let's crack on with the show. We're going to start off with the news update. We've got a lot to cover. So first of all, Gremlin.
News update.
It's all about you, as usual. How is it going on the trike? How are you getting on with that three-wheeler?
Tricycle.
Steady. I have I'm learning to go around corners now. It's very different to riding a motorbike. And don't tell me, Pigpen, you couldn't go around corners anyway on your breakout. Well, I could, but slowly. And this is very different. I'm actually starting to enjoy it. It's the motion of swinging my leg over is difficult, having a prosthetic leg, and I'm getting used to that.
Have you had the cage altered yet, so you
Yes.
can get your foot in? That's all done.
Yeah,
now.
the cage has been altered. I could get my foot in before, but what was happening was because of the vibration of the bike, it was moving the foot out at the rear of the foot plate.
Diesels do rattle.
A lot of vibration.
Yeah.
So Buzz actually made a back bit for it, so my foot stays in fully now, and that's given me a lot of relief when I'm riding, that I'm not looking down the whole time thinking my foot's going to bounce out or bounce backwards.
You're going to lose your leg down the road
Yep.
behind you.
I like it.
Just to the viewers, Buzz owns an agricultural engineer.
Yeah, agricultural engineering company.
Tractor repairs are his speciality. I know. I did pull into a service station, saw Diesel parked up there and crashed into him because I forgot how wide it was, which almost sent his bike flying. The only damage, I did a bit of paintwork damage to my fender of the right-hand rear wheel. So I'm just going to get used to the width.
Right.
Never mind the quality, feel the width. That's what they say in the rag
As
trade.
long as you're enjoying yourself. That's the main thing.
Yeah, I'm starting to. I've got to be honest with you. There are some nerves at times, especially at the rear of the pack when thinking what's coming up behind me. And I know we stopped somewhere near a lay-by, and I thought, I'm just not stopping in there. I cannot stop in a lay-by. And that did terrify me a little bit. You know, brought back those memories of last time I pulled over into a lay-by, ended up 19 days in hospital and losing my leg. Yeah. So there are some psychological issues which I've got to come to terms with, and it'll happen in time. Yeah, but I'm glad to be out there. And yeah, it's good. You
just need to spend more time in the UK where you can actually ride the thing, because at the moment you're never in the UK, are you, Mr. Jet Set?
But that's because he's considerably richer than Yao.
Yeah. He was telling me he was thinking of retiring the other day. My God.
I didn't say retiring.
Okay, so that's the update on the trike situation. So what's next? AGM. We had the AGM back in, was it February now? God, it's been so long since we've recorded. Right, AGM in February. Was there anything of significant value to the show that happened at the AGM?
I was voted back in as president.
Yeah. That's only because no one else wanted the job.
Sympathy vote.
Yeah.
You didn't do a good job first time round, so you didn't show up.
I didn't show up all yet.
Lazy. Just lazy.
Lazy. Downright idle.
So they're giving me a second chance to be president for this year. And,
So at the AGM, we invested 3 new wardens because we've decided that we need a good pack of wardens so that there's always wardens available for rides. The new wardens are Gremlin. Who are the new wardens?
Chief,
Cappy.
it was the third one. Bandit,
yes. So congratulations to Chief Cappy and Bandit on becoming wardens.
Yeah.
We had a good report on charitable donations.
We gave over £3,000 out in donations last year.
Fantastic. That was the new Treasurer's Report, Diesel's first Treasurer's Report. A week later, you guys went to the National AGM.
We did in Derby.
And how did that go?
It was interesting. They have agreed to charter how many more chapters? Is it 3 or 4?
There were four got chartered that day, I think.
Yeah,
and they'll get the official charter at the National Rally. That's when they'll be presented everything. But the new charters were given out to Merlin, which is an offshoot of East Mids.
Yeah.
So because they're wanting each Masonic province, to have its own chapter. So that comes out of that. And
there were some more guys down south, weren't there? Was it Devon or
could be, yeah,
somebody down there? And then was there another one from abroad? Was there?
No, because Gibraltar was already in.
Yeah, was it the Dutch lads? Was there some?
No, I don't think so. But there was one really emotional piece where I got a standing ovation.
Yeah, they did a big welcome back Gremlin, didn't they, to you?
Yeah, Pigpen didn't get up and cheer though, did you?
Nope.
There was also an interesting outcome with the new patches that they were trying to introduce. The WSMBA patches with the Tri-Tau chapter, Royal Arch chapter logo. But that was basically dismissed, wasn't it? It was defeated.
Yeah, for everybody's trying to understand, what are we talking about? The membership patch has a set design to it, and it's a set design going forward. That means that other chapters aren't allowed to tinker with what's on it, because we have, or we did have until very recently, that in the middle of it, we have a white rose.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what was decided on the day was the vote that was taken that those members that have slightly different membership patches and are allowed to keep them, but any new patches going forward will have the new, it's going back to standard days, which is no G. Is that right?
No, that was the trouble. Because Grand Lodges dropped the G, but our original patch had the G, what they've decided is they want to keep the G if you're in a province that allows you to have the G.
Yeah.
And if you're in a province that doesn't allow the G on anything, then you have it without. But they're the only 2 versions that are going forward.
Yeah.
So the chapter version and all that was.
Yeah. I don't know, because you don't have to be a member of the Holy Royal Arch to be a widow's son. The only requirement is that you've taken your 3 degrees in craft masonry.
Yeah.
So
I think a standardized version across the country is way better. We're all in the same association. We should be wearing pretty much the same patch. Yeah, I think that works better, don't you?
Yeah, a bit like Steve right in the afternoon, wasn't it? Serious jocking, no G. So it's serious Masonicking, no G.
Yeah. I mean, that's why we have chapter patches, because we all have individual chapter patches for where we are in the country and what chapter we belong to. But as an association member, we should be wearing the same logo, insignia, patch, whatever you want to call it.
Yep.
Totally.
So that was the National AGM. Right, moving forward then, the next item was our Vice President's installation into the chair of King Solomon. What's that all about, Pigpen? Do you want to explain to the listeners what I'm talking about?
It was best one at year. So our VP, every year a normal Masonic lodge has a meeting where they changed the master of the lodge for the year, and this year was Cassio's turn to be in charge of his lodge. So it's called an installation, and he gets put into the chair of King Solomon by...
He gets installed. That's why it's called an installation, not put.
All right.
Exactly.
We've all had a drink. Yes, he was installed as master of his lodge. Can anyone remind me what the lodge is? Is it Lightcliff?
Concordia.
Concordia. Lodge.
Concordia, yes, of course it is.
In
Concordia.
the
Lodge.
mighty province of Yorkshire West Riding.
Congratulations, Cassio, becoming master of your lodge. Quite an achievement.
Sheffield at Tapton Hall.
Tapton Hall.
Yeah.
So, that
So how was it, guys? Was it a good night?
It was
I didn't
very
go.
good.
I was caught up with either work or prosthetic issues, which meant I couldn't bloody well. Oh, I'd been to Manchester for my leg.
You'd been to Manchester for your prosthetic leg thingy, Bob, so you didn't get.
I know, which I was very disappointed about.
There was.
I paid 156 quid for my meal.
Was there 12 of us went? I think.
I'm just looking now. I'm just opening up Facebook to have a look and see. So I'm just looking at the photograph now, the lodge photo. You've got Howard, Badger, Inky, Diesel was there, Trip was there. Who else? Pigpen, obviously you're there. Bobby stood next to you. Rick is there, and a couple from Parisi. I think it's Drogo and Bully from Parisi.
Yeah, because Drogo was in a Sheffield lodge.
Right. So yeah, really good turnout. A lot of widow sons there in that picture. So nice one, Cassio.
And again, putting it up for us. I know some of his older fellow brethren in the lodge were slightly worried about a bunch of bikers turning up. Yeah, they were, genuinely.
Were they? Awesome.
After it all happened and we were there and the amount of us who turned up and not the spectacle, but, the fact we all had our cuts on and how we were still just Masons at heart, they embraced it and thought it was one of the best things they'd had and they liked
the photographs in the lodge with all the cuts on, I take it.
Yeah, they just thought it was a brilliant show of, comradeship to Cassio.
Yeah, fellowship,
brother, and just, the laugh we brought, the fun we had. They loved it. They thought it were great. So
it's a great photo. There's a good lineup of widow sons there. There's one or two there that I don't recognize. Well, I think there's at least one or two there that I don't recognize. I think Grandpa's in the background as well. Barry Orr's there.
Yes, Barry.
And is it Taff? Was Taff there from?
No, it was Gunny.
Gunny, is it? Right. Okay. Moving on very quickly. Then I've got a little bit of news. Both Pigpen and myself have got new bikes.
New to me.
Yeah, well, new to us.
You to me are everything, the sweetest thing that I can sing.
Oh baby. Yeah, no, Gremlin is the guy that buys new bikes. Me and
I'm going to say, whoa. My trike wasn't new.
No, but in the past you've had new bikes, haven't you?
All of them have been new.
No. The Breakout was second-hand. The Street Glide was second-hand. The Deluxe was new.
Pigpen, what have you got? What's your new bike?
It's an FJR 1300 Yamaha Tourer. Keep your mouth shut.
Yeah.
Just a little Yamaha Tourer bike.
And very nice it is too. Lovely condition. You got it for an absolute bargain. And I believe it's the same bike that Buzz rode down to London when we had our trip down to London.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It's not the same bike, same make.
No, same model, same. Yeah. And I have finally gone and sold the VTX 1800, the big mighty Honda, and I've gone back to the BMW 1200 GS. So I'm back on a Beamer, back on the adventure bike, back on Vicky's dream bike. Well, it was a lot of things, but basically comfort. The VTX was pretty uncomfortable, very impractical, a little bit noisy, and it only did 90 odd miles to a full tank. Whereas this new Beamer that I've got, you fill it up on 25 quid's worth of fuel and it does about 230 odd miles. So a lot more practical for the sort of ride out that we do in the Widow Sons.
So your mighty Honda is gone forever.
Yeah, it's gone.
And what about yours, PP? Have you kept yours?
I've kept my mighty Honda. The mighty Honda is there, ready to come back out. It's just been taxed and MOT'd.
Is it? You haven't sawned it then?
No, it'll be coming out. It'll be coming out on Saturday for the ride to Connaught Court.
I know I won't be there. I'm gutted.
Pigpen doesn't sell his bikes. Whenever he buys a new one, he just puts the old one in the garage, and they build up, don't they? They build up. How many have you got now?
They live together. There's 5 there, and they live together in a little.
There you go. So don't have a go at me for having bike. I mean, you got one. I don't even have a motorbike. It's a trike.
Trike. Yeah.
But my 5 don't come up to a quarter of one of yours prices.
That's true.
I must admit, those bloody trikes are expensive now.
Yeah, moving on. Oh, wow. the event of the year is next on my list. The incredible installation of yours truly, Yaka, becoming master of his lodge, the Agricola Lodge number 1991. And I think everyone was there. I think the entire chapter was pretty...
I don't think I went.
Whose lodge?
Just at my lodge, you were all there. Don't pretend like you weren't there and don't remember it as the most amazing installation of the year, of the decade, dare I say it.
Oh, I remember it. That's the one where they read it all. Yeah, we're all right.
What? Read it all? You're having a laugh.
Admit, what was that singing nonsense in the middle of it?
Oh, that was when they played Be Thou Faithful Until Death. Bobby actually does a great version of it. You want to hear Bobby singing of it, singing that song. It's fabulous. But I'm just looking at the picture here, full of Widow Sons. I think there was 19 Widow Sons there. Diesel, Buzz, Badger, House. Obviously, Kenny was there. Aliens, he's a member of my lodge. Inky, Cappy, Jag, member of my lodge. Both of you two guys, Sack, 2 Hours, Rick, and Elton, and Juggler, and a couple of candidates there as well. So anyway, how did you guys enjoy that evening?
You're all right.
To be fair, it was actually a very good installation. It's one of the best I've seen. And I did tell your installing master, I was very impressed with his ritual.
He did a great job, didn't he? And it was, very strange being put in that chair and sitting up at the festive board and doing all the toasts and that. Thoroughly enjoyed it. So I'm looking forward to a good year. Right, I don't want to hang around talking about me for too long. If it was Gremlin, he'd be more than happy to do another 15 minutes on this particular news update. But I'm moving on to my final news update. Yep. And I've got down here that we attended some of us attended the Widow Sons Lodge number 10,011 installation.
Yes, it was their installation was it last Saturday or 2 Saturdays ago?
I think it was last Saturday, wasn't it?
Last Saturday, yeah.
Bucklington and Sonic Hall.
Yep. So Soulman came out of the chair and Dave went in. There was obviously it was full of Widow Sons from all over the country, very well attended. And
you guys play Thunderstruck as an opening ode.
Yes.
And for those of you that don't know what Thunderstruck is, it's the song. It's an AC/DC song. So they play. What's the closing ode you play?
Do you know what? I don't even know what the close was. It I don't know. Was it Highway to Hell?
I think it's another. It could be. Yeah, another one of those. They did, if you recall, they did a ballot for a new member,
which was really quite interesting.
And the brother senior warden. I'm not going to mention any names, but brother senior warden was struggling a little bit with the ballot, wasn't he?
Struggling with the whole concept of what to do with his white ball and his black ball.
I think he cast both black and white ball into the ballot box, didn't he? Because only 3 people voted and there were 4 balls in the ballot box. But anyway, they did it a second time and the ballot was successful on the second run through.
Yeah.
So, brother senior warden, you know who you are. Okay, so that was the WS Lodge installation. Anything else in the way of rides the last few weeks, months, and since we last recorded an episode? Any rides that we've done that are worth mentioning?
Well, I can't remember if it was current, whatever bank holiday it was. Frank had some brothers to stay from East Mids.
That's right. He had his little Frank Fest, didn't he? His little camping on his land there. Yeah.
So he organised a ride which was starting at Frank Fest. Some of us met up in York, and then the next meeting place was top of
that hill. What's it called? That hill?
Sutton Bank.
Sutton Bank. Thank you. Thank you. And then once we got to Sutton Bank, we met up with a few of the guys. There was other chapters there, wasn't there, from down south?
Yep.
And then we rode over to
Pickering,
and that's where Pigpen turned up.
Decided to turn up, better late than never.
Yeah.
And that's where you said goodbye.
I did. I peeled off at that point and headed off home. I had family matters to take care of.
After you left, we headed up to the North Yorkshire moors, and it was like winter, wasn't it? Pigpen made the mistake of pulling his visor up, and his glasses got covered in mist and water and everything. And
literally, the fog was. I bet it was. There was no more than 5 meters of viz.
Oh my God.
And the bloody cyclists everywhere with no lights on.
Walkers, people walking. Yeah. We did what? 30 miles across the moors in 5 meter viz until we got back down the other side. And it was like, you couldn't see a thing. It was horrendous, wasn't it?
It was. And I think that then the leader of the group had to do a reality check that he actually knew where he was going.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
then we set off from there.
He had to stop and just check his map because he didn't know where he was.
And then we set off from there, and then somebody didn't mark some junctions, and it all sort of...
It all turned a little bit sort of squiggly then, and some of us peeled off, and half the pack followed some of the pack who were going home. And
yeah.
Oh dear.
So I had 65 riders came back to my house.
Yeah.
Ah, well, first big ride of the year, I guess.
It was good. Yeah, it was fun, apart from very cold. And then, what was the last one? Then Bully organised one from Parisi.
But House led a ride. Was it Whitby or Bridlington? Bridlington.
House led a ride to Bridlington.
Bridlington.
Belting down rain.
Yes.
It was very wet when we set off. It was really, you couldn't see very far on the A64. It was quite bad. But then the sun came out. Sun shines on the righteous.
And looking forward, next weekend we've got the Connaught Court Fair, which we've been supporting since, I think, 2017.
We have, but can I just say, I'm really disappointed I will not be there because I was a resident at Connaught Court last year for 2 weeks with my
I thought you said you were going. I thought you said you were going.
I'm away in America.
Oh, right. That's a shame.
It's going back as well. What couple more things? Like I said, we did the ride and met up with Bully, and we went to Moors last week. That was quite a good ride. That was a good sort of 200-mile round trip.
That was Bully's ride.
Bully's ride. So a bit of cross-border relationships there with Parisi, which was good.
Bobby did an excellent ride. We went down to Sheffield, Rotherham.
Oh yeah, that was really good. Yeah, that was where we went to that Victoria Tower thing.
Yeah, and then Scud decided to
shed, didn't we?
Yeah, and then Scud decided to lay his bike down in the middle of wherever it was.
Holmfirth.
We had a bit of a mishap on the zebra crossing at Holmfirth.
Yeah.
And then another thing we've done, we got a message through from Wharfdale Masonic Hall that they were having a stand at Otley Show.
Yep.
Yeah.
Had a blood bike come into the stand and asked if the widow's son's blood bike.
Yeah.
He asked us if we could possibly get somebody from the widow's sons as well to go with the bike. So Inky,
and
one
Trip.
of our new members,
Inky and Trip on it, yeah,
and Trip both turned up there to support them, which was, they reckon it was a good day.
Yeah, we've also got Arthington Show and
there's Wheaton Show and Arthington. Well, Wheaton, I said we're going to struggle with because it's our national rally.
Yeah, so it's the one Arthington Show we could do if I'm in the country.
Arthington is the 20th of August, so hopefully we'll maybe get another 1 or 2 bikes to go to that one.
Sounds good.
One other thing worth mentioning is this month on the Saturday the 24th is our chapter barbecue. So hope to see everyone there at our chapter barbecue. That'll be at is it Topcliffe, Badger's place at Topcliffe?
We need to. Oh, can you keep putting that out, please, Pigpen? Let people know.
We need to find out how. Yeah, if Badger's still good to do that. I think he will be. But we charge £10 a ticket for that. So we need to actually start promoting that a little bit. It's only a few weeks away.
I know. I think I'm back in the country. Then I am.
Are you leading the ride for that one?
I am leading the ride for that one. I've got a lovely route up to Helmsley, Stokesley, and I'll go nice and steady. All right, guys. Well, that about covers it for the news update. And welcome back to segment 2 of the show. And Pigpen's not with us for this segment. He's away on holiday. He's off diving, isn't he, Gremlin? He's gone diving?
Yeah, I think he's one of those ones looking for the Titanic submarine.
Topical. So it's just me and Gremlin. Pigpen will be back in segment 3 for the emails, but we do have a special guest with us today, a brother widow's son, who is in fact a white knight. Now, if you don't know what a white knight is, stay tuned, all will be explained. But first of all, we have to introduce our guest. So, Gremlin, over to you.
Yes, a great pleasure and at great expense, and he hasn't been up that long because of his job. We'd like to welcome Michael James Davies, a.k.a. Worf from Parisi chapter.
Yay! Right, enough of that. Welcome, Worf. Welcome to the show.
What a welcome. Thanks ever so much, guys.
No problem. So, Gremlin, why have we got Worf on the show with us today?
I don't know. Why have we got Worf on the show today?
Well, we thought it might be quite interesting to do a segment all about the White Knights. Now, if you don't know what the White Knights are, Worf, can you tell us what very briefly explain what the White Knights are?
Absolutely. The White Knights offer a out of hours emergency courier service supporting the NHS, which saves thousands of pounds really in taxi fares for local hospitals, hospices, and pharmacies, believe it or not.
Yeah, and they're also known as the blood bikers. So essentially, you're transporting blood supplies from hospital to hospital, aren't you?
Yeah, it's not very often we do actual blood, but we tend to do blood samples, pathology samples, but we'll also cover, end of life medication where the patients need that medication fairly quickly to put them at ease. We'll also deliver case notes. So an hospital, let's say from one end, one city, may need that documentation sent to another hospital fairly quickly. Not always possible to wait for a taxi for 2-3 hours, so they'll call the out of hours blood bike service. We'll also cover medical equipment if we can get it on the bike, of course, x-rays, everything really what a doctor may need for a patient to give that urgent or emergency care.
So it might even be, somebody's going into theatre and there's a piece of theatre equipment that the hospital doesn't have, and they will say, can you go and pick us up this and bring it across ASAP, that sort of thing as well.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, some blood bikers, depending on which area, will be called upon by the air ambulance to deliver blood.
Right.
In all honesty, I've never ever delivered an organ. I think that's more emergency services type delivery.
Right,
but we tend to do a lot of the blood and pathology samples and, like I said, urgent case notes.
Yeah. Right. Okay, so we'll get more into the details of the blood biking in a second. But before we get to the blood bikes, we want to know a little bit about Worf. First of all, Worf, we've done you a little bit of guest music, as is traditional on the Ridecast. So here's your introductory music. There it is. And if any of you know that music, you'll know why we picked it. We'll come back to that in a minute. But Worf, first of all, we've got a few questions we want to ask you. So, Gremlin, do you want to start right at the beginning?
Yeah. Obviously, you're a Freemason. So what we'd like to do is go through a bit of your Masonic background. So when did you become a Mason and which lodge did you have your initiation at? So
I've been a Mason for about 12 years. And I was initiated originally into the Rockley Abbey Lodge in Barnsley, which is the West Riding province. And I think I was a member for about 18 months before I ended up becoming secretary of the lodge.
Wow, that's quick.
I think what it was, because I'm also a member of the RAOB, the Royal Anti-Looping Order of Buffaloes, known as the Butts. And I was lodge secretary with them for about 11 years. Now, they're very, very similar, but I'm not going to go too much into that.
Yeah.
So I became secretary of Rockley Abbey, and I was secretary for about 9 years. Unfortunately, membership dwindled with COVID, and I ended up joining Friendly Lodge 1513 in the same building, because our lodge obviously folded.
Oh, you handed your warrant back in, did you?
Yeah, which was a bit upsetting, to be fair, because I'd been initiated into that lodge and met up with a lot of we know a lot of friends, but a lot of friends did move over to Friendly. Since then, I have become a member of Mark. I'm a member of Chapter. I was a founder member of the Widow's Sons Lodge, which is a fairly new lodge with the North and East ridings.
Tell me, do you hold an office in the new lodge that you're in?
No, not this year. Last year I was assistant secretary. This year we work in everything and other commitments and family. I'm having a bit of a step back.
Right, fair enough.
Because I think for those, you're on about work commitments, but you're also a fairly recent father again, aren't you?
I am, yeah. I have. Well, so recently, time's going quick. She's 20-month-old. I've got 3 children. my oldest has just left school, which is frightening because time's gone so quick. And then my youngest is taking up a lot of time.
Yeah, I'll bet.
So not only do you work full-time, a full-time dad as well, and
Yeah.
you're blood biker. So you've got a lot going on in your life, haven't you?
And what is it you do in your career?
So I'm an associate ambulance practitioner. So when I'm not getting paid for the NHS, I'm volunteering for the NHS.
Yeah. You're an all-round superhero, aren't you, really?
But the best thing about it is when I'm volunteering, I get to ride motorbikes. So that's
perfect.
That helps a lot.
So what was it that brought your interest about Freemasonry? Why did you want to join Freemasonry? Was it a friend, a relative?
In all honesty, I've always been interested in Freemasonry. I think because I've been a member of the Buffs, which is like I call it as the working man's lodge.
Okay.
And I've always
You haven't been to Agricola.
Yeah, nice.
reserve my comments.
I've got a great worshipful master, I hear.
So yeah, I've always had an interest in Freemasonry, and I received a letter asking me to go for an interview, and I went for an interview at Rotherham, and then I was passed on to Barnsley, and like probably most new candidates, absolutely bricking it, didn't know what to expect, but welcomed into the circle, made lots of new friends.
That's quite unusual to get involved without any like link through a family or a friend. I mean, you literally approached the lodge completely blind and said, "I'd like to be a Freemason," and took it from there.
Pretty much, yeah. That's exactly that. And then it was funny because when I went into the lodge, there were people who I knew.
Right. Hadn't previously known.
I had no idea that they were Freemasons.
Yeah.
And so, like I said, I duck text towards it. It was great.
Yeah.
Never looked back since.
I think we're finding more and more candidates to Freemasonry are coming through things like the website. And I know my Wetherby Lodge Lassells, we've had 3 now who have approached the provincial website. They live in Wetherby. We've met them and we've initiated one. We've got one going in October and one going in November. So that's how, before you had to be sort of invited or know somebody. Now, with the internet, people can look at it and think,
there's definitely a groundswell sort of going on, isn't there, at the moment?
Good.
In the last couple of years, there seems to be a real attraction to Freemasonry, which is fabulous.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think what it is, I think it's because we're more open.
Yeah, definitely.
People many years ago thought, oh, it's a secret society. We're open. We've got various interests, like with the Sons Lodge, like the Rugby Lodge. Yeah. There's other activities what people can get involved in. It's not just about coming to a meeting and sitting in a room with old men.
Yeah, and our generation are more open to just talk openly.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think, like you said, we had a bit of an influx over the last couple of years, and I think a lot of that has been down to COVID because people's been stuck at home. They've not had any interests, and that there's a lot about mental health, and I think it's getting a lot of fellas to come out and join like our organisation where the like-minded people with
and they can mix with men and talk about men's issues.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
If Pigpen was here, I'd be saying that he likes to talk about small with other men, but he's not here, so I can't.
Leave room for the scissors, guys.
Yeah. So, next question we have for you is biking background. How long have you been riding motorcycles, and what was your first and worst? We know what your best is going to be because you've just got it. I'm going to talk to you about that in a few minutes.
So when did you start riding motorbikes, Worf?
Right. So, I've been riding motorcycles for about 13 years. And the funny story is I got interested in motorbiking to impress a girl.
Didn't we all? Well, Gremlin didn't. Gremlin did it to impress a boy.
So obviously I'm married to that girl now, so it seemed to have worked quite well.
The lovely Donna.
The lovely Donna, yeah. The lovely
Donna, I believe she passed her test fairly recently, so well done, Donna.
Yeah, congratulations, Donna.
She did, yeah, and she currently rides a Yamaha Bolt 950, which is a lovely bike, nice loud pipes, and I do tend to go out on that quite. Is
that a V twin then, or a 4 or what?
It's a V twin.
Is it right?
V-twin, yeah.
Is it Bumblebee colour? Is it yellow and black?
It is a Bumble, yeah, and that's the actual bike name. It's Bumblebee.
Is it? Brilliant.
So yeah, my first ever bike was a Dragstar 650. Lovely bike, but it were all black. So I wanted a change, and then I got me a Dragstar 650 Classic, which were a lovely bike. And like most of us, we tinker about with it, we change things, and then we cause problems.
Yeah.
So it took a good 18 months for me to get my bike sorted. It kept losing power.
Yeah, I remember you were towing a trailer back from the rally. I think it was 2017, might have been 2018, and I think we were down to about 30 mile an hour on that ride.
Yeah, and you know all it was? I mean, I changed everything on that bike. I had about 5 mechanics look at it over the time of the 18 months. And all it was, because I'd changed, I put an hypercharger on it, and obviously different pipes. It was the spark plug.
Was it?
So we got a standard 7 in, and it needed an 8.
So the heat rating wasn't right, so it was overheating.
Yeah. Right. All it was, and like I said, 5 mechanics later, 18 months, hundreds of pounds spent changing parts.
Yeah.
Finally got to the bottom of it, and it was a spark plug. But yeah, although I love that bike, it caused me a lot of problems.
My old man had an identical bike with in the same colours as yours. So that's a 650 twin. How did you find that? I mean, bearing in mind you're a rally guy, you like to go on your rallies, you like to carry. You're always 2 up, or you quite often, not anymore. Now Donna's got her own bike, but you were often 2 up. You were loaded up with your panniers and luggage. You were towing trailers, for Christ's sake. You really were. Yep. Was that 650 powerful enough for what you did?
The 650, when it was working, never let me down. It was great. To say it was a 650, she had some power. In fact, the bike original was called Janeway.
Yeah, that's another Star Trek reference.
A little Star Trek reference, yeah. She was called Janeway, and she was lovely to ride. But yeah, no problem at all. To be fair, as for the trailer, I think I once had a couple of members riding behind me, and I think they were panicking because the trailer bounced all over the place.
Yeah. Oh, and can you just describe the trailer? Because it was quite a unique trailer, wasn't it? It was homemade.
It certainly was. So I got the majority of parts from eBay. I probably shouldn't incriminate myself in this part, but I rang the local authority up and said that my wheelie bin had got pinched. So I paid £20 for a new one to be delivered. And I made my trailer out of a wheelie bin.
Yeah.
And then a good friend of mine shrink wrapped it so it looked like a giant box of Yorkshire tea.
Yeah, it was fantastic. I will post a picture up on the YouTube video of Worf and his trailer. Yeah, big box of Yorkshire tea.
With its own teapot on the side. And it was definitely a good topic of conversation at motorbike rallies.
And it held a lot of gear, didn't it? It held a ton of gear.
And it was waterproof. It was watertight. It was great. But unfortunately, as women like to take a lot more luggage, we needed a bigger trailer. So I ended up selling that trailer, and I think a guy in Leeds has got it. So if ever you see a Yorkshire tea trailer, it will Worf's.
Oh, it's still out there. It's still out there, is it?
It's still out there, making its journeys, making its deliveries.
Now, you've just come back from a rally, haven't you?
I have, yeah. I've just been to Farmyard Rally.
And did you take your trailer there as well?
I took the bigger trailer. Trailer there. But it's quite funny because when I put the trailer up for sale, the Yorkshire Tea trailer, I had about half a dozen inquiries asking if it came with equipment and did it come with its own tea urn, and genuine questions. They actually thought it was a Yorkshire Tea.
Yeah. Like a promotional thing that they had made. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. And I've got to say at this point, Yorkshire Tea thought it was absolutely fantastic.
Did they?
They put it on their website, on their Facebook page. They thought it was absolutely great. Because obviously I asked their permission if it were all right to advertise their tea. They thought it was great.
Brilliant. So what did you get after the 650? After the Dragstar?
So after 650, our good friend and brother Ivan, Port Pie, he had a Yamaha 1300 XVS Royal Star, lovely bike, and I said to him, Ivan, if ever you decide to sell that bike, give me first dibs. So I just got the Dragstar Classic working perfectly. And then Ivan rang me and he went, I'm selling my bike. Do you want it? And I'm like, oh, Ivan, I've just got my bike sorted. But yes,
Yeah.
I do. So I sold my Dragstar. A guy from Poland come and collected that, believe it or
Right.
not. It was a very sad day when he put it on back of his van and it went.
To the scrapyard.
How very dare you. That my private, that my baby. That was Janeway. That was Janeway.
How many years did you have that one?
I had it probably about 4 years.
Right.
4 years with the 18 months of the headache.
Right. You probably did a few miles on it then.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I mean, to be fair, it was my first proper rally bike. That's the bike that I went and went on all my journeys. My first ride with the widow's sons. You know, going down to London in the pouring down rain. That's another story. And I thought, what am I doing? But you know, it was fantastic time with friends and brothers, and it was brilliant. But yeah, going back onto the Royal Star. So the next day I went through to Ivan's, picked up the Royal Star, and I thought, oh my God, it's massive, this bike. Absolutely huge.
Yeah.
How am I going to manage to ride this back home? I've gone from a 650 to a 1300. The bike's massive.
A lot of weight there.
A lot of weight. Thankfully, the tassels that were on the handlebars balanced it out okay before anybody makes any reference to the tassels. And then also carrying an empty trailer as well. So I took it steady, got back home.
You were towing a trailer that first time you rode it?
Yeah, because he was selling me the bigger trailer as well.
Full package. Did it have panniers, saddlebags? What did it have?
It had panniers as standard on the actual bike. So
the hard ones.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question? You know, with a car, you've got a tow bar.
Yeah.
How do you attach a trailer to your motorbike? For those who don't know, of which I am one.
Exactly the same.
Yeah.
The only thing is, obviously, on a car, you tend to put a chain on just in case it comes off.
Yeah.
I don't know about any other, other people, but I don't put the chain on because I think if it's going to come off,
you want it to be free. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry about the people behind me, but the last thing I want is that chain to start throwing me about and
dragging you off.
Cut me off. Yeah. So, thankfully, touch wood, never had any problems. And you just got to remember your speed limits. You got to remember how you're going to balance your trailer.
Yeah.
You do ride completely different when you've got a trailer on the back. Obviously, on the new bike, I can't even tell it's there.
Yeah, we're going to come on to that beauty in a couple of minutes.
Yeah, that's one thing I've never done. It is tow a trailer on a bike. So you've got one up on me there, mate. That's a whole nother skill.
You know, I think as well from early riding, I've always had a trailer on bike, always. Right. But yeah, you've got to change your riding position. You've just got to remember that you've got a trailer on. And of course, when you're carrying a pillion and then you've got your trailer and then you've got your panniers packed, there's a lot of weight.
Yeah.
That's what you've got to remember. But as long as it's loaded properly and you're taking it steady, you're fine. Obviously, it does take a little bit longer to get to places.
Right, Gremlin, you've been dying to ask him. Go on.
Yes. Yeah. So currently, can I just say, from being, what could I class you as a Harley hater? What do you ride now, Wolf? What is it that we have?
I'm a reformed character. That's all I can say.
He's gone to the dark side, everyone.
Yeah. So come and tell us about it. Tell us what you've got now.
Well, so again, I went to Spain and Portugal with the Widow's Sons, with the Parisi chapter, and one of our members, which is also a member of Riding's chapter, has got a Harley Davidson CVO, and I thought
that'll be Alien then, will it?
Yeah,
Alien. Yeah. So riding behind Alien and riding in front of him and admiring his bike now and again, I thought, oh, he looks quite nice, this bike. And then I've been thinking about a Harley for a while, to be fair, and I've talked it through with a few members. Spoke to Alien many occasions, and he actually said to me, look, why do you need to get an Harley? You've got a decent, you've got the Royal Star. Spend a bit of money on doing that up. I'm like, yeah. Because to be fair, the Royal Star and the Harley, they're not the same. Before Gremlin interjects, but they're quite big. They're both big bikes, both comfortable. But then I was a bit like a dog with a bone.
Yeah.
I want an Harley. I want an Harley.
And you know what? Kit staying in the closet is not healthy. It's better that you come out and you admit to everyone and get it out there in the public. And we all support each other, and no one's judging you. So,
to be fair, yeah, Kurt, yes, there's quite a lot of support groups with the Harley Davidsons. I'm a member of a couple, so they are helping a lot. But yeah, so I went through to Harley Leeds,
yeah,
and I had a look at a couple of bikes, and there's some lovely bikes, but the one that I wanted wasn't there. And in all honesty, I'm not going to push for advertising for Leeds Harley, but they were really good.
They looked after Gremlin, didn't they, Gremlin?
Yeah, they were fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't fault him. I mean, straight away, I'd walked in. She said, "Look, don't buy a second-hand bike. Buy a brand new bike." I'm like, "Yeah," but she's like, "This brand new bike here, Ultra Glide, brand new. I'll knock you $5,000 off straight away." And she says, "What you're paying for that is what you'll be paying for a second-hand one."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "I really do." So I really find them genuine, and
how can they knock that sort of money off? And still...
no idea. But to me, it wasn't just about making a sale. It was like,
Did they take your Yamaha as a trade-in against it then, or did you sell that privately?
Well, I didn't actually. I'm gonna have to think about it because it's a lot of money.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be fair. The Harley Davidsons are a lot of money. I mean, I'm going to put a decent deposit down, but I'm going to have to speak to she who must be obeyed.
Yeah. And we all know you NHS guys get paid next to nothing. So, because we know that because you're always out striking all the time, aren't you?
It's never enough. It's never enough.
Of course it isn't.
So yes, I came back home and I was talking to Leeds Harley as well, and I'm like, it's not the bike I want. I want a CVO. I don't just want the standard Ultra Glide. I want a CVO. I want the mod cons. And I spoke to Donna. Heated seat. Yeah. I spoke to Donna, and Donna said, pretty much in what I'd also said, life's too short.
Yeah. Totally agree.
100%, Wolf.
The job that I do, the really only interest I've got at the moment, apart from family and work, is riding motorcycles. And if a Harley is going to make me happy, then get the bike. Get the bike and enjoy the ride.
You're a long time dead, aren't you? So yeah.
Absolutely. So now that I got the permission, I was still looking for weeks and weeks. I thought I want to see the bike that I want and think, "Whoa, yeah, that's the bike." And I ended up getting. I was going on Auto Trader a lot, and I ended up getting the bike from I forgot which Harley it is now. Somewhere down south, Newmarket, is it?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah. Newmarket. Yeah.
So I saw this bike, and I was like, "That's the one. That's the one that I want." And spoke to a guy down there again. Brilliant service, brilliant after sales. Good communications. He's like, "Yeah, no problem. We'll get it sent up to you. We'll do this, we'll do that." And a few days later, the bike arrived, and I looked at it and I thought, so I not even rode this bike, and it got delivered. And I thought, "Oh, that's big."
Yeah,
that is. And then I took it for a test ride. Absolutely fell in love with it, and the bike is called Elizabeth. After as late Queen.
After Her Majesty.
After Her Majesty, yeah, because I am a bit of a royalist. I put my hands up. And yeah, I rode it, and I went to a meeting. It was a little bit cold. I put the heated grips on. I put the heated seat on, and I thought, absolutely, yes, this is. And the ride, I got off the bike, and it wasn't one of them. When you've done a good hour or two riding, and you get off and you're aching a bit.
Yeah.
I got off the bike and I thought,
fresh as a daisy.
I feel all right. Yeah, I feel nice and comfortable. It's great. And yeah, it's fantastic. CVO 1900.
Yeah.
Brilliant bike. The only thing what's taking me longer to get to grips with is the computer.
Yeah. So a question, that bike wouldn't have come with a tow bar. So how do you go about getting your tow bar put onto that?
Good question, Gremlin. That was an absolute nightmare.
Yeah.
So I spoke to half a dozen different Harley dealerships in UK. No one wanted to provide a tow bar. Of course, they gave me all the warnings. You know, it destabilizes the bike. It's not worth doing it. Don't put it on. You know, and I'm like, yeah, but that's not an option for me. I need a tow bar. You know, we go camping a lot. We take the bikes.
Yeah.
I've need something for the trailer, and I'm certainly not taking the car.
And to be fair, you'd been towing a trailer for years.
Yeah,
it's not like you didn't have any experience.
Well, and that's it. And I like to think, you know, I'm experienced in pulling a trailer on a motorbike. So I started contacting a few dealers in America, and these tow bars were out of stock everywhere. Now, I managed to get one from Florida, but the guy who had it did not ship out outside of the States.
Yeah.
So I was stuck, and I thought, oh, and these tow bars are not cheap. The tow bar.
I bet the shipping's dear and all, because there'll be a lot of weight to them, won't there?
Well, being a Barnsley man and wanting to save a bit of cash, there were ways and means around that yakka.
Right.
I'll come on in a minute.
Did you put it in Alien's suitcase?
Very close, but I didn't use Alien. So the tow bar was about £500, plus then the electrics for it, which were an extra $120. So when I spoke to the guy, and he's like, I don't ship outside of America. And I'm like, you know, I'll pay for this, I'll pay for that, I'll pay for the shipping. Price up the shipping and the taxes and the customs, and that was just as dear as what the actual tow bar were.
Yeah.
And then obviously I had to get it fitted.
Yeah.
So a friend of mine was coming from America who actually lived in, obviously Florida is a massive state, but she lived about 2 hours away from this Harley Davidson dealership. And so I made arrangements with her, like Graham has just said, pop it in your suitcase. I'll pay you the £80 for the additional case.
Right.
So, of course, no customs, no, you know, I just had to pay for the weight. And then it came, and I looked at it, and I'm like, there's nothing to this tow bar. I'm probably missing a bit of an opportunity here. I need to get, you know, some kind of an engineer who can fabricate them,
and then you can sell them in the UK.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. But anyway, so yeah, we got the tow bar, and we got it fitted perfectly. So I'm very, very, very happy with the CVO. It's great.
Wow, that was a 20-minute chat about a Harley and a tow bar.
I'll let you edit all that.
It was quite interesting, though. To be fair, I was riveted.
So, from being a Harley hater, what are you actually wearing right now? Oh, look at that Harley Davidson T-shirt or sweatshirt.
I got mine. It says on it.
I've got mine. Yeah. Oh yes, I've got my new work bag now is a Harley Davidson rucksack. And,
fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, you've had a few Yamahas, haven't you? Now you're on your dream bike on your HD.
Yeah. Yeah. I think
God save us all.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
I'll be saving this bike for a while now. I think the only thing is which I don't like is having to clean it.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, mate. I hate washing bikes.
Cleaning the bike.
Try cleaning a trike. It's like having a blooming car.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Let's move on, guys. Widow Son's background.
Yeah.
So you joined the Ridings chapter in what year? Back in would have been 2016, 2015, something like that.
Yeah, about that time. I've been a Widow Sons about 8 years.
Out of all the things you do with the Widow Sons, what's your favourite thing? It's got to be the rallies for you, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I mean, we love camping and we love the rallies. But of course, there's nothing better than going out with your mates and your brothers and having a good old ride. And when you're on a long stretch of road and those big convoys are nice, aren't they?
You've
got half a dozen to a dozen bikers.
Yeah,
and it's just great. It's just absolutely fantastic to see it all riding.
Yeah, and you're in full Nancy boy mode with your heated grips, your heated seat. It's just what could be better?
Comfort. I think you get to a certain age and you think, you know what, I want my comfort.
Yeah, definitely. So you have an unusual road name. Those that are listening might already know, but for those that aren't aware, where does Wharf come from? So
yeah, I must admit, when I was first presented, because obviously we don't pick our own road names. Yeah. They're passed on to us. And when I was first given my road name as Wharf, I was a bit gutted.
Really? I think it's perfect.
I thought he's a big man, not very attractive, not good temper. And do you know what? It really has grown on me. And not only that, Worf, Worf
Where does it come from?
Anybody who's a Trekkie, who's into Star Trek, will know that Worf is a Klingon security officer on the Starship Enterprise, NCC 1701-P.
Hell yeah.
And obviously
he's a legend, isn't he? He's a legendary character, one of the main characters in The Next Generation.
He is. He's a warrior. He absolutely is. So yeah, the Worf name stuck to the point where my kids even call me Worf now.
So the guys in the Widow's Sons must have known that you were a massive Star Trek fan.
Yeah. Obviously, the must. I think it were down to Facebook. To be fair, we sometimes put too much information on Facebook.
Yeah.
And that's where they've got it from. But yeah, and in all honesty, Worf is actually as a character I liked him on Star Trek, but now because I'm kind of associated with him, I've grown more to love him.
Yeah, absolutely. And Worf and I sort of have a lot in common in this area because we're both Star Trek nerds. Well, any sci-fi fantasy, we love all that stuff, and we both go to the Comic Cons. You're a little bit more prolific with your Comic Cons than I am, but I love going to the Comic Cons and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, so that's where the road name comes from, folks. Right, what's next, Gremlin?
What are the White Knights?
Yeah, we covered that briefly at the beginning. Yeah. So we know what you do in the White Knight. So how did you find out about them? What made you want to become a White Knight? And tell us a bit more about it.
So White Knights, obviously at the time I'd done me, I'd passed my test and became a biker. Joined the Widow's Sons, and then I kept seeing advertised blood bikes, and I thought, oh, that looks quite interesting. Nice bikes, blue lights. Let's be honest, it makes it fun.
What bikes are they, by the way?
So the bikes that they have are BMWs, and so the White Knights Yorkshire is split into different sections. So we've got White Knights South Yorkshire, we've got West Yorkshire. So obviously I can only discuss about South Yorkshire because that's the.
Is there a north and east as well?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, there's a north, but they're just kind of set it. Well, we do have bikes for the north, but we've just actually the Widow's Sons Lodge.
It's help fund one, isn't it?
Yeah. With the North and East Ridings. Provincial Grand Lodge of like you've just said, funded a blood bike, which is great because there was no coverage up at Scarborough. And anybody, I mean, bit of background information for you, the coastal area is that there's not much coverage at that side, even with the ambulance service. Obviously, there's cover for emergency, but it takes a while. So for a call to come from Scarborough, and it needs to get to York, it is a bit of a trek. A blood bike can get there a lot quicker, which is a great service. It's going to cover that area, but again, it needs the riders. So anybody up in that area who wants to be a rider, get volunteering because they're needed up that end.
The bike that you ride, has that been provided by the Freemasons or sponsored by the Freemasons?
So majority of the bikes with the White Knights are all provided by Masonic lodges, with assistance from National Lottery, and some from donations like from BMW. It costs a fortune to run the White Knights Yorkshire. So the bikes that we've got at South Yorkshire, we've got a BMW. I mean, this is probably more Yakka. We've got an R1250, we've got a 1200 and an 800 GT. I'm not up to spec with BMW.
Yeah, they're the for the listeners, they're the touring style bike. Think of what the police ride, similar sort of thing.
So exactly that, Yakka. So the bikes are actually built to the police specs.
Right.
So they're stickered up. They've got the lights on. They've got the sirens. We've got the trackers, we've got the cameras, everything. It's all on the bike. There's no expense spared. These are professional bikes built to police and the NAB specs, which is the Nationwide Association of Blood Bikes. Approximate cost for these bikes is about £18,000 plus the extras. Then what we fit on, like the sticker and the reflective stickers and sirens and lights. So it's
plus there's the running costs, the yearly just running costs of them as well, which is
absolutely. So the running costs for the whole of the White Knights is between £2,000 and £3,000 a month. And obviously we rely heavily on donations.
Yeah.
So without donations, we won't be able to pay for the petrol.
Yeah.
The
servicing and
the insurance,
tires.
Yeah, tires especially. But we have a lot of good people. There's been occasions when I pulled up at petrol stations and started to fill it bike up, and somebody said, I'll go in and pay for that, and they'll pay for petrol. There'll be times when we go to certain garages, the dealers will say, "Don't worry about the tire, we'll put the tire on." But it doesn't happen all the time. And £2,000-3,000 a month to run this service is
that for what, one bike or a few bikes, or
that's for the whole of Yorkshire.
Right, okay.
So, but bear in mind, these bikes are in use every single day.
So if you've got 3 bikes there, are all 3 bikes out at the same time? Or
so what we'll tend to do, we tend to have a spare bike. Really, we turn up at our bikes are stored at Northern General Hospital. So we pick whichever bike we want. It's always good to have a spare, because obviously if a bike is, for whatever reason, there's a problem with one, we've got a bike spare where we can take it out. I tend to like the 1250. In fact, that's called Ivanhoe, which is named after a lodge, because obviously that's a lodge in Sheffield that donated it.
Yeah.
But again, it's never been a massive fan of BMWs, but they are nice to ride and so easy on cornering. And it really is. It's got the power, and we can get the fairly sharpish.
Very well balanced, aren't they? Very aerodynamic, smooth engines.
Absolutely, yeah. I was very surprised when I first went on one, because if I jumped on one, I was like, "Oh, this is big." And then when I did my actual ride, I thought, "Oh, well, actually, a bit like Harley's, I've called these BMW bikes, and to be fair, they're quite good.
They're very civilized, aren't they?
Yeah.
They are, yeah.
So normal bike license. And what else do you need as a qualification to be considered to be a blood biker?
So, to qualify, you need to have a advanced riding qualification.
Yeah.
Normally with IAMS, or if you've got one, through police or ambulance service.
Do they accept ROSPA?
Yes, they take ROSPA. So specifically for bikes. So if you've got like an advanced qualification for driving a car, it's not the same. You must have the one for the bike.
Yeah.
You'll also then go on another assessment with one of the trainers within the blood bikes.
Yeah.
Just to get an idea on how you ride. So you need that, and you need to be an active member as well. You need to be a paid member of IAMS or ROSPA. You need to be part of that group.
Yeah.
You need to be over 30.
Yeah.
You do need to have a DBS check.
Yeah.
And then, of course, there's additional training, because at the end of the day, you're carrying what could be blood or specimen, and you need to know how to handle that equipment or them samples.
You've got precious cargo, haven't you?
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. Not only that, we do, besides blood and pathology samples and medication. Obviously, you're also delivering controlled drugs. Right. So you need to be careful of that, and also the risk factor of carrying these controlled drugs. But we also do like specialist donor baby milk.
Yeah.
So for babies in special baby care.
You said earlier you've never carried organs, but do the blood bikers carry organs sometimes?
I believe in some areas, yeah, but I think it's all down to what like the local policies are for that group, yeah. So the local policies. But I suppose at some point, if ever the need was to arise, then we'd do it. And in all honesty, I'd say I would never presume to say that we've saved a life, but I'd like to think that we've we're very proud to think that we may have made a difference.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm sure the blood bikes have saved lives. I mean, I don't doubt it for a minute that you've delivered life-saving equipment and blood, without a doubt.
Oh,
I just a quick question. So you've got Ivanhoe. What are the other two bikes called?
The other one's called Lottie.
Lottie. Is it paid for by the lottery?
I don't know. Do you know? I've never asked that question.
I bet that's what it is.
The third bike, I have no idea because it's a new bike.
Isn't it? Isn't that isn't that one called the Widow's Son?
No.
No. That's the bike in the north.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we've actually had a new bike as well in the south. And then when we first got that, I was a little bit reluctant in riding it because it was keyless. It was.
Right.
I'd got no idea. I was like, oh my word, no, it's completely different, this bike, and all the mod cons and computer and obviously now that I've got the Harley, I'm quite happy with keyless ignition and everything. So, but yeah, I don't know the name.
So what about requirements for clothing, for helmets? Do you provide those? Do you get given those? How does it work?
No, so like most organisations, we have to pay for it. So everything what you see what a blood bike we have to pay. So requirements is a white helmet.
Yeah.
So again, we have to buy the white helmet. The stickers, what goes on the helmet, we have to buy the stickers. The high visibility vest, we have to pay for it ourselves. Nothing is provided because at the end of the day, it's a charity. And if we start expecting the charity to buy things, then it's taking money out of the the
running costs. Yeah. So you can't claim for your lunch. You can't get a Costa coffee on the way.
No. Unless a nice member of the public decides to buy us one, that's fine.
Nice plug. Nice plug there.
If you see a blood biker, get him a Costa. But yeah, so everything we buy ourselves. Clothing wise, just your standard biker gear, But at the end of the day, you put the Ivers jacket over your clothing. So, but yeah, everything's regulated as well. So we do come under NAB, which is Nationwide Association of Blood Bikes, and they're like the governing body. But believe it or not, we were actually the White Knights Yorkshire were the founder members of NAB. And I think what were happening was at the time, there were a lot of people setting blood bikes up, and it wasn't really being regulated. It were people doing things maybe what they shouldn't have been doing.
Right. No national association binding it all together, and
that's right. So eventually, quite a few, I say us, but the White Knights got together and said, look, we need to put something in place. We need to do this, we need to do that. We need to have some national guidelines.
Yeah, standards.
And so, in 2012, NAB was set up, and they now offer support to local groups being represented nationally, and they support new groups what's wanting to set up, or if there's an issue, they're there to assist, and that's before, during, and after any bike groups. White Knights Yorkshire, we were formed in 2008, but originally, and I'm not sure if this is just Yorkshire or if it's national. The original blood bikes were set up in 1960, around that period, and they were called the Emergency Volunteer Service. And then, obviously, then White Knights Yorkshire 2008, and then NAB were formed in 2012. So it's been going a fair bit.
I wonder what the emergency services back in the 60s. I wonder what bikes they were riding. They'd have been like Triumphs, probably, wouldn't they?
I don't. Do you know the only? I mean, obviously that was before my time, but
Nortons.
The only ones where I can think in the 60s were like what they got on Heartbeat.
Yeah, BSAs and things like that. Yeah. Tell me, Wolf, do you think that your medical background, being that you're in the ambulance service, do you think that gives you any advantage with the blood biking, or is it just totally separated, a completely different thing?
It's separate.
Yeah.
It's
you're a courier, I guess, aren't you?
Yeah. I'm a courier in a high-vis jacket and blue lights.
Yeah.
So can I ask you, do you ever put your blue lights and siren on?
Very, very rare. I mean, majority of our calls are all urgent.
Yeah.
We don't get many emergency calls. We may get one or two a month.
Yeah. And do people respect you and move out of the way when they see you with
absolutely.
that? Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, in all honesty, Gremlin, when they see us anyway without the lights on,
Yeah.
they tend to move out that way.
Yeah.
I think it's probably because they think we're police.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a big bike. It's stickered up.
Yeah.
I think the bike's quite intimidating.
White crash helmet, for high vis vest. You look like a copper, don't you?
Yeah, yeah. And I think when they see this big bike coming down and they think, oh, crikey. And then even then, when they realise it's a blood bike,
they're still happy to get out of the way.
Yeah. They move out to it. We get a wave. And it's great. The public seem to recognise that we're here. And I think a lot do know what we're actually doing. They know, like the ambulance service, it's an emergency service.
Yeah.
And could potentially be saving a life.
Yeah, and the people sat in those cars, it could be their family. So get out of the way and
I'd just like to say a get well soon to a blood biker in the West Riding, Lawrence Turner.
Yeah, brother Lawrence.
Yep, who laid his BMW down on his foot, and I think he's had half of his toe chopped off. So, I hope it's sorted, Lawrence. I hope you're back on your feet, and you don't end up like me being back on your foot. So,
speaking of which, not that is in any way funny, but do you have? Stop laughing, Gremlin. Wolf, do you have any stories, anything alarming or funny, amusing stories from when you've been blood biking?
The only time that I can recall is when I first started blood biking, and I wasn't too familiar with the controls of the bike, and I was on my way to Northern General Hospital, and anybody who knows area, it's a bit of a long stretch, Barnsley Road, and I'm coming down the road, and a taxi driver pulled out in front of me. So
bloody taxi drivers,
taxi drivers, same. And I'd gone to push the bullhorn, and obviously, if you know the bullhorn, it's a bit louder than your normal standard horn.
Yeah.
Missed the bullhorn and pushed the all singing, all dancing 360 button, which set off the sirens, the blue lights, everything. The taxi driver jumped. I jumped.
I bet he absolutely shit himself.
So did I. Everybody stopped and looked, and obviously I'm stuck in the middle of the road. Then trying to turn this siren off and blue lights. Then intercom starts ringing because obviously I've activated, because everything's monitored. So I've activated the lights and sirens. So comms ringing to check exactly what's happening, because obviously it was an urgent call, not an emergency. Eventually, after a good 5-6 minutes, I managed to switch the sirens.
So your sirens were running on the roadside for 6 minutes. Oh my god!
I couldn't switch it off. I was changing all different tones, all different. One of them where you just wanted to be swallowed up. Everybody were looking, and I'm just stuck in the middle of the road. I kept turning ignition off, thinking it to reset the siren and blue lights. Turned it back on again, and it was back. Anyway, eventually, I figured out that you just had to push the button again. It wasn't a switch.
So it was just push. It's like a push to cancel thing then.
Yeah.
Right,
so,
right.
But again, I'd only been riding a couple of weeks. I'm not too familiar with buttons. And but yeah, taxi driver got out. He actually apologized, and I apologized to him for deafening him. But yeah, that's probably the only time. And obviously, then I went to Northern General, did my delivery, and then got myself a coffee and reflected.
Do you take the bike home then when you're on shift? You're given the bike and you're on call, and it's at your house.
Yeah, absolutely. So what happens is when we pick the bike up. So we operate Monday to Friday, 7 o'clock at night while 7 in the morning. And then on weekends and bank holidays, it's 24/7. So we tend to, I know in some areas like West, they expect you to be on call for 2 or 3 days. You pick your bike up and you've got it for 2 or 3 days. Well, work commitments and family, it's not always possible to do that. So we have how we operate in the South. We have a rota system. And we just do one shift or 2 shifts or whatever number of shifts you want to do, but at least a minimum of 1 shift for 12 hours. So we pick the bike up, it comes home, and it stays there until we get a call. Now, how the system works, so the hospital will ring control. They will then send a message to us to say, this is your job. If we don't respond to that message within a couple of minutes, we get a phone call. just making sure that we're okay and we've got the job, and then we respond. So they expect you to be within at least a 6-7 mile radius of the local hospitals. I'm in quite a good location because where I'm based, I'm literally 1 minute away from motorway at junction 36 at M1, so I can get to Sheffield, Rotherham, or Barnsley pretty much within 5-10 minutes.
Yeah.
Which is fairly good.
How are you with getting up in the middle of the night?
In all, I'm a bit of a night owl, so I do prefer the night shift, so it works better for me. If I'm on call, I tend to stop downstairs so I don't obviously disturb everybody who's in bed.
Right.
But obviously I don't sleep properly. I just nod because you're waiting for a call. Some days we could be busy, we could be out most at night. Some days might get one call. So every day is different. You can't guarantee what calls you're going to get. But, the text message goes off, jump straight up, jackets on, helmets on, and off we go. Summertime, it's great. Wintertime, not so great. It's cold. It's normally wet. And, you have to change the way you're, like, as experienced bikers that we all are, you have to change the way that you ride in winter. And we have had a couple of incidents, especially up in North, with farmers and mud on the road.
Yeah, I saw that post on Facebook. Someone had gone down on a load of mud.
Yeah. I think wintertime we had somebody who had gone over on ice. So we have been trying for a number of years now to try and raise money for a car.
Yeah, I saw that.
For especially for winter times, because it's just too dangerous to take a motorbike out when it's snowing or
in the middle of the night when when the temperatures really drop. Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely, but that's the thing. We 7 o'clock at night, 7 o'clock in the morning, weekends and bank holidays with 24 hours, and what that does is it saves thousands of pounds. From the NHS. Just to give you an idea, so I've not got any latest figures for June, but for May, so we have 50 riders in Yorkshire who are all volunteers. So we completed 277 jobs in May.
Wow.
So we attended 277 incidents. Well, I say incidents, but call outs. 269 of them were urgent jobs. We had 3 relay jobs. So relay jobs we could be having some baby milk from Scotland.
Yeah, heading down south somewhere.
Heading down south. So we'll go up to Scotch Corner, collect that, and then we'll probably go down to maybe like Birmingham, Lincolnshire way, whatever, and
hand it off to the next guy.
That's it, yeah. And then that's how we get it. And we normally complete that within a reasonable time. And then we had 5 non-urgent jobs. The non-urgents could be something like, can you just take some equipment? But again, Yaki, you're a taxi driver.
Yeah. The cost of those, if they were taxi rides, average taxi fare on them, I would imagine something like 50 quid, maybe more, depending on the distance. It's going to add up, isn't it?
Well, the actual, so in May, we saved the NHS in South Yorkshire just under £11,000.
Yeah.
By operating the services that we do. We rode 8,947 miles and we did 504 hours on call.
Wow.
So, when you look
and that's just Yorkshire.
Yeah.
You think of all the blood bikes all over the country.
That's just South Yorkshire.
Right,
that's
South Yorkshire, right.
That's not including West or North. That is just South Yorkshire. They're our figures. So,
fantastic. That is to be commended. That's an incredible number. Gremlin, do you have anything else? Because I think we've pretty much covered all our.
I think we're there. Is there anything? I gather you are an avid listener to Ridecast, so we thank you for that. Is there anything you'd like to say to the listeners, Wolf?
Just thanks for listening. And again, if you see a white knight or anybody from the emergency services, just give us a wave. It's always appreciated.
We will do.
Thanks, Wolf. We really appreciate you taking your time out. Obviously, you'll be wanting to get straight back to bed once you've got off this recording. So I'll say, we'll get you a bottle of blood wine and Kaplar, and we'll play you out with your music. So thanks again, Wolf.
Live long and prosper, and thanks for having me.
Cheers, Wolf. And welcome back to segment 3. And this is
Email Corner.
Corner. Right, I've got a couple of shout outs before we get to your emails, guys. First of all, a big hello to Zinger from Surrey chapter, who runs or is part of Red Plume. You know, the clothing company that have been advertising to do all the Masonic T-shirts and hoodies and fleeces and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, can I just say I wear my Ridecast T-shirt with pride. Pigpen just wears a pride T-shirt.
I think you'll find that I had mine on the other weekend.
Yeah, you did. I spotted that. We all bought Zinger. Thanks for the T-shirts. They are awesome quality, lovely with our logo printed on the front. And Zinger actually did a little bit of work. He's obviously a bit of a graphic design type of guy, and he put some highlights on our biker and changed the headlight logo and just zhuzhed it up a little bit, made it look a little bit more modern. So thanks for that, Zinger. The only thing I've got to say is, where are our mugs? He said he was going to send us some free mugs, so they haven't shown up yet, Zinger, so get on it, get the mugs out. But thanks for all the work. Thanks for the T-shirts.
You tight-fisted.
A message here from Oliver, who says that this is going back to when we interviewed Prep School 2 episodes back. He says that Prep School sounds like Holly from Red Dwarf. Do you guys remember Holly from Red Dwarf? They're all dead, Dave. No? Yeah, Pigpen's nodding. Apparently Prep School sounds like Red Dwarf. And actually, I've listened back to that interview and he does sound a little bit like Holly from Red Dwarf. And Ollie also says...
Is that Mr. Britas?
No, it's a different character. It's the ship computer, Holly. Ollie also says, where's episode 2? This is it now, Ollie. You're listening to it now. We're doing it. Right, okay. Any emails? Anyone got an email for me?
They've got an Ollie. We've got a Wally.
Over to you, Pigpen. Hey!
Dear Radcast, I've been listening to the show since the early days and have noticed the following. Gremling has a potty mouth. Yep.
True.
Pigpen occasionally uses some bad language, usually directed at potty mouth Gremling. But Yaka, I've not heard you swear. Are you a posh boy?
Right.
No, he doesn't actually swear because he skillfully edits his.
I do. I edit out all
and he puts false ones in of mine.
He does all the editing.
Yeah, no, I'll tell you why I don't swear, because every time somebody swears, it takes me 3 or 4 minutes to add a bleep, a censorship bleep. So every time these two guys swear, it's like, oh no, there's another 3 or 4 minutes work to add the censorship in. So I don't swear deliberately just to save myself work on the edit.
To be fair, we record about 7 hours worth every show, and it has to get
chopped down with all the gremlin swearing. It gets chopped down. But I tell you what, then just for posterity, I'll use up my quota for the year. There you go.
Who was that from?
That's from John. So thank you, John.
Thank you, John.
Yeah, cheers, John. Right, Gremlin, have you got one?
Yes. Dear Gremlin, Pigpen and Yaka, after listening to your report on Eddie Kidd in the last episode, it occurred to me that there are no more daredevils jumping buses anymore. What happened to them? Did the public just lose interest? Or is there a modern day equivalent that I'm not aware of? All the best, Joe Pineapples. Anybody want to come in with that one?
Yeah, I mean, the jumping buses thing definitely fizzled out, didn't it? But there are still some bike riders doing jumps. There's Travis, what's his name again, Pigpen? Travis Pastrana? Yeah, Travis Pastrana. He's one of these Red Bull guys that jumps football stadiums.
The most famous one who I know is Robert William Robbie Madison, the Australian guy. And he's one of these Red Bull performers. It's pretty incredible what he does. And I think nowadays...
Circus, isn't it now?
Yeah, Red Bull seems to have taken over a lot of this now.
The bravery now is to get double front flip or a triple back flip or a Superman or all these sort of weird and wonderful things that they're coming up with.
I tell you what I have seen. I've seen people doing jumps from the top of a skyscraper roof across to another skyscraper roof. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, that's Robbie Madison doing the building jumps.
Oh,
so
right, okay.
On the 31st of December 2007, on the 40th anniversary of Evel Knievel jumping the fountains at Caesar Palace, and live on the ESPN cable TV network, Madison broke the world motorcycle jumping record, traveling 98.34 miles on a motor or meters on a motorbike.
Right.
There you go.
Yeah.
And I think he does all the James Bond stunts as well. And certainly in the last Bond film, he was the stunt rider or one of the stunt riders on the Triumphs that they had.
Cool.
Talking of speeds and other things at the moment, while it's relevant, as we're recording this, it's the Isle of Man TT meeting for 2023 at the moment, and the lap record has been broken.
That's it. What's the average speed?
It hasn't.
Well, it's in practice, but still, it's
not official then.
135.5 miles an hour average speed.
Wow.
Was that a relative of Joey Dunlop?
Yes, it's Michael Dunlop.
Yeah. Is it? Wow.
Yeah, they can't do it officially because it's not in a proper race.
Yeah.
No, but it'll go in the proper race because that's only a warm up.
Yeah, right. If he's done it in practice, he'll do it in the real race, won't he?
That's a practice. It'll go.
And how much quicker is that than?
It's probably only like 1 mile an hour quicker than the previous average speed. I would have thought it won't be a massive amount, but it's tenths of a second you're talking about, aren't you?
It's just milestones. It's only 3 or 4 years ago when they broke 130, and they thought that was ridiculous. Now, it's that. Also, I can't think of his name. I've lost his name, but he's just broken the speed trap speed this year in practice, but he's gone through the speed trap at 200 miles an hour.
Really? Wow.
So yeah, bikes are getting faster. The weather will be helping because it's
dry,
super sticky.
Yeah.
But
there was a guy near where I live, at Elvington Airfield. They were going for the world wheelie speed record attempt a couple of weeks back. I didn't go because it was quite dear to get in. It was like £20 a head to get in. And one of the guys attempting the record was a mason, because I bumped into him on the road when I was out at work, and I saw a guy with a Masonic square and compass on the back of his van and spoke to him. But I don't know what the outcome of that was.
He said it was a really good day.
Really good day. What was the name of the person that we received that email off, Gremlin?
That was from Joe Pineapples.
Joe Pineapples, go and check out, get onto YouTube and do a search for Travis Pastrana, Nitro Circus, and what was your one?
Robbie Madison.
Robbie Madison, and
which is Red Bull.
What you're looking for.
Yeah, all the Red Bull stuff.
Right, I've got an email here, guys. Moving on. Dear Ridecast, some years ago now, I remember visiting Craven's Motorcycle Museum, which is near where I live. It's up at Stockton-on-the-Forest. I recall viewing a bike, and brackets, I can't remember the make or model, maybe you will know, that had a fully encased chain drive. Evidently, this casing contained an oil bath that kept the chain constantly lubricated. Since this is clearly not something you see on modern chain drive bikes, I gather it was not a good design. If my description makes any sense and you guys are familiar with this unusual design, could you offer any more information? Thanks in advance, Bob from North Yorkshire.
Well, I think Bob, being an expert on anything to do with motorcycle parts and maintenance.
Yeah. You're going to answer this one, Gremlin.
I haven't got a clue what you're talking about. Was that written in a foreign language?
You know what he's talking about, don't you, Pigpen?
Yes.
The idea is brilliant, isn't it?
Yes.
The chain life must have been exponentially improved, but it hasn't caught on. They don't do them anymore. So why is that?
Because that's before chains had the... If you ever look at a chain now and look at an old-fashioned chain, basically a metal pin went through a metal ring, and that's how it made each link.
So it's metal on metal on metal, basically.
Yeah. Whereas if you look at them now, there's like a rubber O-ring at each side.
Yeah.
They're packed with grease. So the actual design of the chain just means it needs an external lubrication every,
1,000 miles or something.
Yeah, every few times you go out, you give it a quick squirt, job's a good one. Whereas the old air chain, if it didn't have oil pretty much all the time, it just ran dry and bust.
Wore out quickly, and yeah. I would imagine those oil bath containers probably leaked, or they would need regular changing, and they probably just weren't practical, were they? Whereas these O-ring chains that are used now are way better, aren't they?
Yeah, just different technology.
Do you remember, Pigpen, the Scott Oilers?
Yes.
Scott oilers, they were a big thing back in the 80s, weren't they? They were like a little container of oil, a chain lube that you had on your bike that was connected to your, was it the carburetor? It was like vacuum control, wasn't it, off the carburetor?
The carburetor had a vacuum pipe. You took a pipe off there to it, and
it basically dripped oil down a little pipe that went all the way down to your chain, and it had like a little needle that dripped that little drop of oil directly onto your chain, didn't it? Yeah. So it permanently kept it lubricated. But I remember them; they made a real mess of your bike, didn't they? There was oil flinging off all over your back wheel, and
they were awful. They were all right on off-road stuff. That was about all I found they were good for.
Right. Yeah, but they definitely increased the life of your chain, didn't they?
Yeah.
So anyway, Bob, North Yorkshire, thanks for your email. We haven't given you an awful lot of information there, but I think we've explained roughly what. As far as the model and the bike, I believe the early Honda Super Dreams had those encased chains back in the 60s, but don't know an awful lot about them. But I have seen them. I've seen what you're talking about. Right. Anyone else got an email?
Yes. Hello, boys. Last weekend, my son, Yaka, took me out for a ride on the back of his bike. I thoroughly enjoyed my first motorcycle ride in over 20 years. My late husband and I travelled all over the UK on our BMW. My question is, at 77 years old, am I too old to be riding motorcycles? Love the show. Carol, Yaka's mum.
Yay! That's my mum.
Fantastic.
Hello, mum.
No, why should you be too young at 77 to ride on a motorbike?
Too old?
No, why would you be too old?
Yeah, she said to me, "Oh, any chance you could take me out for a ride?" And I'm like, "Of course you can, yeah." So we kitted her up.
I'd have chosen a different bike and rider, wouldn't you, Pigpen?
Well, there is that.
You're never too old to ride a bike. As long as you can climb on board, then you're good. You're good to go, aren't you?
Pigpen, your thoughts as being the oldest in the group?
Being the elderly.
I don't think so. There, my gremlin, my old fruitcake. No. Like you say, look, we've got a member of our group who is
94, probably.
Yeah, Grandpa. We call him Grandpa, don't we?
Yeah.
Mario, MBE, OBE.
MBE.
94 years old, still rides motorbikes.
OBE.
No,
it's MBE. Definitely MBE, trust me.
Sorry, Grandpa, we've got it wrong. You've either got the order of it or you're a member of it. But, yep, he still rides and he's 94. So
yeah. So there you go. Never too old to ride a motorbike. So all you listeners out there that are getting on in years, get at advanced age, carry on riding your bikes while you're safe to do so.
MBE, you're right.
Yeah. Right. Anyone got anything else?
Yeah, just right quickly, going back to the guy you said with the wheelie, I've just had a quick look. I don't know if it's the same guy who's already done it, but the only one it shows at the minute is it was back in 2017.
Uh-huh.
And the world record speed is 217.85 miles an hour.
On a wheelie?
Yeah, one wheel.
What?
And it has to be over 1 kilometre.
No
right.
way.
So you can't just do a little pop the front wheel up and down. You've got to
pop the wheel up and go, that was a wheel. It has to be off the floor for a recorded 1 kilometre. And he did it at York. So this is at Elvington as well. And it's a guy called Ted Brady. And he did 350 kilometres an hour or 217 miles an hour over 1 kilometre, which is 0.6 of a mile.
I wouldn't want to do that on 2 wheels, let alone 1 wheel.
Yeah, that is going. Good lad.
Yeah.
And what was he on? What did he ride?
It will have been a Hayabusa, I'm guessing.
A mighty Honda.
No, it was a
Harley Davidson.
140 horsepower turbocharged Suzuki Hayabusa.
Was that a 240 there? You broke up a bit.
540.
540 brake horsepower, my God. Yeah, on the old Hayabusa, fastest production bike in the world.
Oh, yeah, that's just going some. Good lad.
And I think you've got one more message that came randomly through the website, Pigpen, didn't you?
It's from Douglas Liddell, and it says, what is the significance of branding?
Huh. I think we've covered that in several episodes.
Yeah, the basis of branding is it was set up by the Widow's Son Scotland as a separate little thing that they were doing, and then they started inviting the rest of the Widow's Sons UK to go up. If you are a patched in member, you can apply, and if there's spaces, you can go and you get what we call the L-shape Widow's Sons patch, which
just a square,
almost become like the climax of being a widow's son. That's the one everybody.
Well, it is a climax. Obviously, the major climax is to meet the team of the Ridecast team. That's obviously the big.
Yeah,
big
Pigpen will have you your as the climax, won't it? I think we'll be doing are we going to be doing our next recording before the National Rally? Will we be live from the National Rally?
Well, we should definitely do some recording at the National Rally. We'll try and grab a few people, pull them to one side and do a little short interviews and little segments to include.
That sounds good.
So we will see you all at the National Rally, guys, in Hull.
Next
what
month.
Is it? The Ionians Rugby Club, Hull Ionians. Next month, end of July, we'll all be there. So we'll see you there. Does anyone have any or other messages, emails, or anything? I think we've done them all, haven't we, for this month?
Yeah. Pigpen Pal has gone very quiet this month because we haven't been really broadcasting, and they've forgotten who he is.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Our very own Stud Muffin is redundant this month.
I mean, to be fair, some of them may not have made it since the last recording, might they? I mean, they're getting on.
We're having to have our very own Ridecast Alma to send flowers to one of the funerals.
Pigpen's gone quiet. Right, okay. I think we should wrap up for this month then.
Yeah, so do I.
Thanks to everyone for downloading and listening to the podcast. Don't forget to send us a message to, what's our email address again? Ridecast@hotmail.com. Get us a message. You can get to us through the Facebook page and through the website. So I'm going to sign off now. This is Yaka signing off for Ridecast. Over to you, Gremlin.
And it's good night from him.
And it's good night from me.
And see you later, guys. Catch you next time. Bye.
See you later.